Stepping Up to the Plate on BCTV is presented by Smoker & Company and One Source Business Solutions.
We welcome you back once more to Lehigh Valley sports scene. Now we left you, we were talking a little bit of football, but now we're switching to a different kind of football, and it's not every day that you get the opportunity to work with one of the world's greatest athletes, but that's exactly what happened for 80 young soccer players at the Hillcrest Fieldhouse in Exeter as they got the opportunity to learn from Ali Krieger. And it was an absolute joy. I was there. It was a joy for the kids, but it was an even greater joy probably for myself. Take a look. Two-time World Cup champion and professional soccer star Ali Krieger partnered up with the Big Vision Foundation, whose mission is to develop today's youth into tomorrow's leaders by exposing them to positive role models in sports. And a day with Ali would do just that.
And I'm here with AKFC, which is my camps and clinics, and I'm doing, I do youth and adult camps and clinics, but I'm in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I'm really excited to be here today, and also a big thank you to Big Vision Foundation for also having me and connecting AKFC together to have this special day for the kids.
I think it's just awesome, you know, especially coming off of the World Cup win and just having all of her experience and getting able to learn from somebody that, you know, like skilled and awesome.
Winning the World Cup this year was about much more than just hoisting a trophy. It was about the platform it gave them and what they were able to do with it.
It's incredible to really give back to, you know, kind of share the win with everyone in our country, because I know they had supported us the entire time and still do. And so we want to make sure that we continue to fight for young athletes and women and really keep raising the bar and raising the standard and the growth of soccer in the U.S. but also in the world. So I think we're kind of doing our small part in our piece to then look at the greater picture and make something bigger than ourselves.
We're watching the World Cup over the summer is awesome. I got to get together with some of like my teammates and we got to watch it together, and just I feel like watching it with girls that you play with on the field helps you just talk about like, oh, like we can do that and incorporate it in our practices and our games. So I think that's really helpful, and just watching it is awesome and seeing how just amazing that team is.
The motto behind the Ali Krieger Football Camps is the Warrior Way. 4 mental components that Ali has lived by and fueled her success on some of the biggest stages in the world. But it's also something she hopes that youth soccer players can use far beyond just the playing field.
It goes hand in hand. The Warrior Way is represented by 4 key components that I think I have used my entire career, which is passion, confidence, positivity, and trust, most important. And I go into detail about those at the camp, which I won't, get too much in detail now because it's important to wrap that up in the end. But that's another piece that I think a lot of these young kids can apply to their soccer careers, and just making sure that those 4 key words they can think about in the mental and emotional part of the game. And that's what I think these camps kind of separate from any other soccer camp that is hosted.
It just makes it 10 times better because, she's awesome on the field, and then just carrying it in her demeanor on and off, and just how awesome she is in the community and the public, and even doing these camps with, teaching young girls how to be the best they can be too.
On the scene in Exeter, I'm Cassie Schmidt for 2 Sports. So, of course, a very special camp for those kids, and really the emphasis in her camps is teaching those kids, no matter their age or their skill level, exactly what she is learning at the highest level, down to the stretching, which, as she mentioned, I don't think that's really taught anywhere else. So it was a really, really cool experience and a great learning experience for those kids as well.
And you have to share the little nugget about her last name.
Yes, Ali Krieger. Krieger in German means warrior. So, of course, the Warrior Way makes sense.
Love it. And she's one of the best defenders
Yes.
on the planet. So if you're going to learn, why not learn from one of the best?
AKFC was started because I wanted to help develop young players at a young age, understand what it takes to play at the highest level. And I think that goes along with building their confidence, trust within themselves and each other amongst their team. I think just showing how much passion they can have for something that they love to do, and also just using positivity throughout training, thinking positive, talking and speaking positively, and just understanding what that takes to be positive is to be successful. I think all of those components I wanted to make sure were described in the Warrior Way, because I know that those 4 components have helped me since I was really young get to the level that I'm at. So I wanted to make sure that we had a camp and clinics and the Warrior Way to really express what it takes to play at the highest level. And I think all of those components put together really demonstrates what we did today with all the kids, and I hope that I can continue to inspire not only in my hometown but in the country and across our nation. The future is to keep expanding with AKFC and my growth as a player and person, and that's the key here, and just to continue to inspire young athletes around the country and world to want to have the same love for the game and have a better understanding of the game.
Hi there, I'm Tony Reis, and I am guest hosting part 4 of the 30th anniversary to Big Vision's podcast episodes. And I am joined by the leader of this Big Vision Foundation, Dan Klauser. Here we are again.
Thanks, Tony.
We are again. So, leading up to episode 4, it's been a while, right? There's been so much going on, but we wanted to focus on where we are presently, and then also what's going on in the future, not just for Big Vision, but for Dan Klauser. So, what is happening right now for Big Vision?
So, we've got a lot of exciting things happening, as we always do. We always have. I think the past couple podcasts that we've done, where we had some of our Latino kids on and, talked about the impact that we have for them, is just one of the many positive things that we have going on. But as we look forward, we use this series to kind of look at the history of Big Vision Foundation in the 30 years that we've been around. But I think as we look forward, for the next 30 years, so to speak, we've got some real exciting things on the horizon, and they're still not 100% in place. There's still some details to work out. But one of the things that we're working on is partnering with a management company to come in and help us take the facility side of things, the sports complex component, and the running the tournaments and the business operations, to a whole new level, which will also then create, long-term sustainability for Big Vision Foundation itself. So that's one of the things that we're, on the cusp of finalizing right now, that I think is really exciting. It's exciting for us as an organization. It's exciting for the community, because what we do, when you just want to talk about the numbers, from an economic impact, generating $7 to $8 million a year in economic impact, to be able to bring in a true management partner to help us with that side of things, we could easily see that number multiply by tenfold, and that's not an exaggeration at all. We're talking about people who, have the vision, and then also have the resources to really take that complex to the next level.
So you realize that you have taken it in 30 years. My gosh, you took it from just a couple of games, right? With a couple of guys that wanted to play baseball.
Yep.
To this amazing organization 30 years later. And so to take a step back and go, ooh, you know what? That was a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and a lot of passion. maybe we could use a little assistance in this now, you know, and leverage the strengths and the skills that have been there and where you've taken it to. So I think that's amazing to have the foresight that to take it, like you said, to sustain it another 30 years, bring another organization on board to help Big Vision do that. That's pretty positive.
Yeah, it's definitely building our team, without a doubt. Without necessarily having the scariness of how to build that team. Bringing someone in who, already does what we're looking to have them do, and they've got the resources and the operations in place to really, again, take it to the next level.
What's happening with you?
After 30 years, I've decided that it is definitely the right time to, start on a different journey. Have no regrets from what I've, done for these past 30 years, but just seemed like the right time to step away. And, as I've talked to some different people about that, they've mentioned, isn't that tough with, you build it to where it is today, and you're creating a way to get it even bigger and even better in the future, and you don't want to be a part of that. And it's not necessarily I don't want to be a part of it, but I don't have to be a part of it. I can look back on what I've done for the past 30 years and what we've done as a team and be very proud of that. We've accomplished more than what we ever set out to do in 1989. But for me, I want to write a couple more books. I'm a published author now, and I'm adding additional chapters to the book that I've already published. It's tough to do that when you're working 100 hours a week. And again, not that I have any regrets with what I do or the time I put in. One of the other things that I am talented at is writing. And, to be able to put the time and effort in, I think I can touch even more people's lives by publishing a couple more books. And as you well know, talking about starting a new podcast series to talk about my new journey, which, for anyone that read my first book, there's, the dedication of that talks about my mom and her just deciding to quit a very good paying job when she was in her mid-40s selling life insurance and convert a 1967 Plymouth Valiant by putting a sheet of plywood and a mattress in the back of it to form a bed, and went out and purchased a little 38 Special and decided she was going to travel the world because she felt that God gave us a beautiful country and not enough of us here appreciate it. So, whether it's in my blood, I drove a lot this past winter. I drove down to Dallas. I drove to Louisiana to see Jenny Finch and spent some time with her. Drove down to Orlando, spent some time with Ali Krieger. And I don't know if that's what gave me the itch or what, but there's definitely a solitude of being behind the wheel and, just taking in everything around you. So that's what my wife and I are looking to do. And we'll, build a podcast series around some of the people we meet, whether that's, an old friend that have the opportunity to go visit again, or someone that we just met on the street and, help tell their story. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I really hope that your listeners are taking from this what I'm hearing, and that is that as an individual first, you had an idea with help and support and courage, right? And that amazing ability to think in possibilities. You were able to take Berkshire Baseball into Big Vision and grow this organization, and you've touched many, many, many lives. So now you've taken it where it is, which is very successful economically as well as life lessons. And now you're going to hand this beautiful gem and hand the reins over to someone to take it to the next level so that you can take your life to the next level. And not many people realize that dream. You've realized a dream and worked it for 30 years. And now you're taking those same attributes 30 years ago that you put in place and you're applying it to this next chapter. I can't wait to hear the stories of this next chapter. And I would imagine, Dan, because it just is what happens with you, that you are going to be touching a lot of lives along the way in this next part.
Yeah, I think for sure. When try not to get choked up because I'm talking about my mom, but when she passed away, as I've thought about this the past couple months, I remember looking through her Polaroids and everything, and letters that she received from people about, how a 30-minute lunch with her changed their life, saved their life. I mean, literally writing to her, "You saved my life." So as I thought about this, I thought, how much cooler would have it been for her as opposed to, doing this in the, mid 1980s into the early 90s, and then again continuing to just travel to Ground Zero or Nova Scotia or wherever it was she felt she wanted to go for that particular moment in time, to be able to document it in real time, through social media and that sort of stuff. So, I guess as a, little bit more of a tribute to her, to be able to do that, I think will be pretty cool.
It will
without a
be.
doubt.
It will be. And you'll also be able to document and tell the stories of other people's lives too.
Yeah.
So almost facilitate her legacy through the next part of your journey.
Yep.
And, just like you did with Big Vision. And so how exciting is that to be able to hand over a beautiful gem of a business, an organization that you've grown for 30 years, and hand that over in good hands, right?
Yep.
And then to be able to go off and do this on your own terms. And so I'm very inspired by that. And I'm sure a lot of people are inspired by that. Again, I know that we're going to have a couple more shows under Big Vision till this becomes a reality. And we will tell the stories of the legacy that you have built. And also anyone, the partnerships that are being built currently to take this thing forward are standing on the shoulders of greatness. How cool is that?
I didn't look at it that way, but that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So thank you. And until next time.
All right. Be sure to check us out, bigvisionfoundation.org. Here's the next 30 years.
What can I say? I heard about Cups of Compassion from being on the email list of the Liberty Law Group, attended the event as a volunteer to hand out coats. And I just saw the event, and it really opened my eyes to our community, and just wanted to get involved however I could.
So your real job, your day job, is with UGI Utilities.
Yes.
And I know they're a huge sponsor of ours as an organization, and I know they fully support you in this role. What is it through the company and the outlook from UGI that makes them want to have their employees involved in the community like this?
UGI is heavily involved in the committee and supports our employees being out and about. It's really great to work for a company that allows me to get so involved with things. And before I was in a community relations role at UGI, I was doing the same thing. So it just goes to show how much the company is involved in our communities.
Yeah, and I think that's refreshing, especially in this day and age of corporate America really gets a black eye in a lot of instances. So it's great and refreshing to see a local company like UGI want to get involved and want to give back and encourage their employees to get involved. So how many other UGI employees actually come out the day of the event to help out?
Well, last year I think was the first year that other UGI employees helped, and there were I think 4 others that joined, but I know one in particular asks me every day when the event is because he cannot wait to participate again.
Awesome.
But hopefully we can have a few more employees come out, even if it's just for setup or tear down. But just just seeing the event with your own eyes is so much more than we could ever talk about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's kind of been the resounding theme of all the podcasts that we've done this month. From everybody's got that one story of the the one person or the one thing that made a true impact on them, and that really grabbed at their heartstrings and why they want to continue to come back. I'm sure 5 years of helping, you've certainly got some of those stories without a doubt. So I mean, can you share one of those with us as to a certain incident that really kind of sold you on wanting to stay involved in the event?
I think the one that comes to mind is I was talking to an attendee of the event who had said that his wife was going through cancer treatment and not living together, and just with the astronomical bills couldn't really afford anything anymore. So any way that we were able to help was a blessing to him.
All right. Yeah, it's unbelievable that truly medical bankruptcy is something any of us could experience at any given time, which is a real shame. And I've said over the course of several of these podcasts that the one thing that I think again is resoundingly obvious during that event is that everybody's got their own circumstances as to why they were put in the position they were, whether it's exorbitant medical bills or an addiction or loss of a job or whatever the case is. But I think the one thing that I've noticed is they all just want to be treated as human beings, and the interaction that they get with us as volunteers I think goes far beyond getting a hamburger or a hot dog or a jacket or rice and beans or whatever the case is, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about some of the details of the event. I mean, it's right up on us at this point, so people can obviously come out that day and help. I mean, obviously we'd like to have them sign up and register, but certainly if somebody just shows up the day of the event, we're not going to turn them away. So give us some of the details, date of the event, time, and some of the things that they could volunteer to help with that day.
Excuse me. Certainly. So the event will be held on Thursday, December 20th from 8 a.m. to noon. I think the biggest needs that we could use in terms of volunteers would be set up. We're usually there 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, setting up tables, running electric lines, helping volunteers find where they're supposed to go. And then obviously tear down at the end of the event, some of the same thing, folding tables, cleaning up, tearing down boxes. But just throughout the event, we need volunteers to be runners in terms of unloading cars. Volunteers drop off donations throughout the day, making sure they get where they need to go. Just guiding the attendees to where everything is, from the clothing donations to food and various other spots.
Yeah, and I think people should understand. Obviously, we're going to have plenty of food, burgers, hot dogs, soups. Pastor Jay always brings rice and beans, and who knows what else, clothing. But then we always have other services, or awareness of other services that are available. And what are some of those? I know Berks Community Health has been involved in the past. What are some of those other vendors, that provide some of those human services and social services that'll be at the event this year?
Sure, they will be there in addition to Tower Health and I believe the Mental Health Alliance, St. Jude. They've all been participants for many years.
Yeah. Last year we started a new partnership with iLead, which has been a huge help for us to have their kids use as a senior project. to help sort the clothing that we collect. And last year we provided a pizza party for them to the kids that actually helped. And I know for me, obviously being in the youth development field, so to speak, that's always refreshing for me to see the kids get involved and just talk a little bit about how that how important it is to have that relationship with iLead and to continue that relationship.
Sure. Well, I think their location at 4th and Penn makes that the start of a great partnership, but having the students help us with, like you said, sorting the clothing for the event as a project, and then just seeing them on the event day, it really says a lot about the school and the students that go there. Just to see, sometimes I wonder if their eyes aren't open to the needs of the community as well. Sometimes we're in our own thing, but I think the kids got to see a lot too.
Yeah, and I think the real point that shouldn't get lost there is a lot of those kids who are helping aren't necessarily coming from backgrounds of excess. A lot of them, quite frankly, are in need as well. So I think that's really the neat thing, is that as we do this, we see those who have the means to give back, but then we also see those who don't necessarily have the means who also want to give back. Last week Richie told a story about a young man who came up to him and gave him candy that he had gotten. So again, there is a recipient who wanted to also give, and I think that's really the kind of the endless circle and that ripple effect that we cause. That it really goes so much further beyond just, again, the receiving of a coat or a burger, hot dog, or soup, whatever the case is. So just about out of time, but any last things you want to add as chairman of the committee?
For me, being part of this event for a number of years, in addition to helping, just seeing how the Berks County community comes together for this event is one of my favorite things about this event.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's just neat to see.